Hi everyone, welcome back to my short series on Node and VS Code. So doing command line node scripts using VS Code where we cover some of the basics. And the last video was on the while loop. This one is going to be on the for loops, but not all of them. Just to review, in JavaScript, loops run on true, stop on false. There are a couple of while loops that you can use if you are unsure how many times you need to do something, right? So you can be in those use cases where, well, I don't know how many times this is going to happen, so you typically need a while. You'll need some logic inside your loop to flip the switch so the loop can stop. The for loops are a little bit, we could say self-contained or a little bit more automated. The old school one, which we won't be demoing here, has a built-in start, stop, and step. So there's a way for them to know, do I start the count at 1? Do I start it at 0 or somewhere else? When do I know how to stop? That means this condition becomes false and the loop stops. And then typically there's a counting mechanism in there. Am I counting by 1? Counting by 2, like skip counting by 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. Maybe I'm counting down, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that. What I'm going to focus on here are the for in and the for of, okay, in that. And so I have some snippets here just to have some data, and so you don't have to painfully watch me try to type those in. So I have an array and I have an object. And so I'm going to use the for in. That's the loop I'm used to using in other languages, but my note up there, not what I thought. Okay, so I'm going to go for and parentheses. Now we could do define a variable let, and I'll call it the one in the many, and my many is data. So my data is array. So that's how I like to think of it when I'm in other languages. For the one in the many, do something. I'll go console.log, and I'll log out the value. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting maybe to see 10, 20, 50, 60 get printed out. So let's find out what happens. Node main 4.js. And what did I get? 0, 1, 2, 3. Ah, that wasn't what I was expecting. What are those? Right? Those are the index or the index subscripts of the array, the position in the array where values are. So this is 0 position, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So what the in does is sort of do the positions or the indexes, not the values. Okay. What happens if we switch that from data to object data? This one here. Will it blow up? That's always a question. Will it blow up? Let's find out. Dog, cat, bird, rat. So there it does the key, but not the value. So on an array, it does the index, but not the value. On an object, it does the key, but not the value. So it'll cycle through the indexes, or it'll cycle through the keys, but then it's up to you to use those keys or use those indexes to grab the value. So what if I do the of loop? Another thing too about the in, did I say where to start? No. Did I say where to stop? No. Did I say how to count? No. So basically, if you know you have to start at the beginning, whatever the beginning is, and I know I have to go all the way to the end, whatever the end is, but I have to process everyone, I can't skip over everyone, then these loops are probably the loops that you're after, okay, the in or the of. Just note that the in, okay, cycles through the index value or the key value, depending what it encounters. So I'm going to change this to of. I'll change this back to data. So let one of the many print out 1. What happens then? I get the values that I wanted. Okay, I get the 10, the 20, the 50, or 60. So I would say in cases where you have an array and you know you have to process the whole array from beginning to end, and I don't get to skip anyone, then the for of loop is probably the best choice for you. It's the cleanest in that if for some reason you have to start, I have to skip 10 and I have to start at 20, right? Then you're going to have to use the old school for to do that. So if you can't start right at the beginning and you can't go all the way to the end, there's lots of things where I had to go like to the n minus one. There's not the very, very last one, right? I've done that, especially if I'm comparing the current one to the next one to see a difference, then I can't go all the way to the end of the array. So if you have something like you can't start right at the beginning, or you can't go all the way to the end, or I need to get every second one, every third one out, then you're going to have to use the old school for loop. Okay, and you'll see lots of the examples of those out there on the internet. Right now, I just want to deal with processing a whole array from beginning to end without skipping anybody. So let's see what happens let's see what it does on the object one. Okay, and let's see what happens. Ooh, error. Okay, so just be, I knew I was going to do that. Notice what it says, data object is not an iterable. It's not like an iterable or a sequence. This concept comes up in Python too, and that as well. So typically if you're dealing with arrays, the for of works okay. If you're dealing with objects, you're probably going to have to go for in, but just remember, okay, it cycles for the keys and doesn't get the values. You would still have to go get the values out, right? So say I did want to cycle for it, then how would I get at the value? Well, one is going to be the key. And then I would just do this. Data, obj. Oh, almost had it. And then I had to use the indexing mechanism that's for an object. And so that means go in and pull out a value. So we know it's when it was cycling here, it's going to go dog, cat, bird, rat. So it's going to go into this object and pull out the value for that particular key. And so if you do want to have a for loop that processes values and those values are in key value pairs in an object, and I know I'm dealing with an object because it starts with a brace here, then you can use the in, but then when you print, you have to get the key, you have to use that key value to get the value out of the object. Now I said that, let's go prove that actually works. Okay, so up arrow twice. Right? And now I get 10, 20, 50, 60 out of data object in that. And maybe I'll do a fancy way to do this. We'll use those fancy quotes there. And that, and the value for the key 1 is, just so you can see that, yes, we are really going through, I'm really printing out the object stuff, not the array stuff. Okay, so I'll just change that message a little bit there. So the value for the key dog is 20, the value for the key cat is, dog is 10, cat is 20, bird is 50, rat is 60. Okay, so if you're processing arrays, of is fine, right? If you're processing objects and key value pairs, probably going to have to flip into in. And just remember that you have to use that key value to, you have to use that key to extract the value out of the object. So like I said, this was going to be a short video, and that about wraps it up. Bye for now.